Hello everyone, it is Pat with our weekly Oracle card reading and message. And this is for the upcoming week, today starting with the 8th of January going through to the 14th. So we'll see what's coming up for this week. Now I'm going to be doing like I usually do, calling on the Archangel Oracle card for the Archangel that's overseeing us for the week. And then I will gravitate to one of the card decks that I have with me, which I feel like I'm feeling drawn to the Archangel Michael card deck today, I'll be honest with you. So we will see where that takes us. But for right now, let's call on the Archangels that are, all right, one has spilled out. It literally came, you didn't see it go up, but it came flying out of the deck to the side. So the Archangel working with us this week is Archangel Jeremiel with this message of overcoming difficulties. Now, I do sense right away that this specifically applies to us, a lot of us here in the Northeast, or maybe even all up and down the eastern seaboard of the United States. But I'm sure in many places around the world where we've been dealing with natural disasters, natural storms like the ones that just came up the East Coast, caused a lot of problems with flooding and heavy snow, especially in areas that weren't accustomed to it. You know, even Florida in the United States had snow. I know there's been other, on the other side of the world, in areas of India, they've had severe storms. There's some places that are going through severe heat right now. So really and it's presenting a lot of difficulties because of its intensity and its, extreme. This recent storm that we went through here, it's unlike one that we haven't had in a long time. Some of our floodwaters haven't gotten this bad since, the blizzard of 1978 that we had, many, many years ago. And certainly our recent winters have been a lot warmer, although I will say that once upon a time when I was growing up, I lived through the blizzard of 78, it wasn't uncommon to have very cold winters, where the temperature was at 0 or below. So anyways, what Jeremiel is his message, he's an angel that we can call upon, to look upon ourselves more mercifully, to look upon others more mercifully, and as well as to help us and give us this message that we're, the worst of it is now behind us. And that's what this message is. The worst is behind you, and the challenges that it presented to us, we are surmounting them. Okay? So it's going to be a little bit smoother sailing in from here. And I know even here where I am, the temperatures finally come up. And it's one of those times where 30 degrees feels like a heat wave. So anyways, but call upon Jeremiel for any time you're having a difficulty with a transition in your life, okay? I do feel like there's some big changes coming in that people are trying to put in place in their life. Maybe you're transitioning to a newer, different career for yourself, or just trying to move out of some old situations that were really maybe toxic for you, causing a lot of problems and difficulties. And so Jeremiel is here to help with that transition and allowing in the new. Okay, so work with him this week. He's got a beautiful like amethyst color to his energy. And I just want to look in the book a little bit to see if there's any other additional messages. It's just a statement to the fact that the lessons that you've learned, they might have been difficult, but they're making you stronger. Okay? So things that have been destroyed by storms, they probably will be rebuilt, but we're looking at better ways to rebuild them. How can we make it stronger? How can we help it to withstand, these kinds of weather changes? And, it's not about blaming yourself. Okay, we might look at it as like, yeah, we should have paid attention to this sooner, but it's really more of an energy about, okay, what can we do to move forward? All right. So, and it's about having a positive outlook because, you're attracting new situations that are going to be serving you and the world in a better way. All right. So, all right, let's work with Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael, even though Jeremiel came up for the angel overseeing us this week, helping us to overcome the challenges, it's also a good month to work with the Archangel Michael and Metatron because they're about helping us to Michael's a very motivating energy. You know, there's probably, we're setting clear intentions for our future and for the year. And so he can be a very motivating force that way, and he can really help us with taking the next steps. Metatron is also very good to have work with because he's organizational and helps with record keeping and organizing your time and your priorities and things like that. So, but let's see what Michael's messages are for this week. There's some pumping out already. All right. All right. So the message for the beginning of the week is this one. It says self-respect. All right. And as I look at it, I feel like it's about honoring yourself in a way that has to do with behaving in a way that generates your own respect for yourself. You know, maybe the things that you're looking to change in your life, your New Year's inspirations and resolutions have to do with you stepping up the level of respect that you get in the world, that you get from other people. But it starts with yourself and believing in yourself and that you are deserving of greater respect, okay? Now, as I look at her, and my Archangel Michael is supporting that, okay? And that's the feeling that I get around it, is it has to do with up-leveling. So in a work level, you may be, you know, moving up or looking to move up to a new level where you get more respect from your peers, okay? You know, at a personal level, you may want it just more in your personal relationships, okay? But it starts with respecting yourself. And the way we do that sometimes is maybe setting some boundaries on our time and on our energy. And sometimes the way you respect yourself is not allowing somebody to take advantage too much of your time. So you set a boundary with it. That's just an example. But it may be something that's coming up for you in your life. If you feel like you've been spread out too thin last year and that there's just a lot of people coming to you wanting your time, wanting your energy, what have you, sometimes the best way to respect for yourself is to put some boundaries on that. So that's what the card speaks to. So it just indicates at the beginning of the week there, you know, that issue is coming up for you, okay? If you are someone who's feeling, you know, maybe taken advantage of in any way, or maybe that was a theme for you last year and you're trying to change it, it starts with respecting yourself, okay? And when you do it, other people will follow suit. They might not like it at first because, you know, when we change our role, people aren't always happy about that. It makes a few waves, but you got to do what you need to do sometimes. So that's the sense I get about it at the beginning of the week. There's issues around that. And it may be that you're also speaking up for yourself in a way that feels non-confrontational, where you're just making your needs or boundaries known, okay? And so the beginning of the week has that theme to it. And, you know, the self-respect, even, I want to say, you know, I watched the Golden Globes last night, and there's a huge theme that's, you know, with people who have come forward and told their story. That was how they were respecting themselves. They had the courage to come forward and speak the truth about something that happened. Okay, so that in a larger way is about having respect for yourself also. So it may mean that we're, you know, it's a theme that we may see come up in the media again in different ways, with new guidelines that are being, you know, put in place. So, all right, so middle of the week, we have this card, be gentle with yourself. So it's about nurturing that new part of you that needs and desires to have more respect for yourself and see more respect in the world. Be gentle with yourself as you do it. It isn't meant to be a confrontational thing. When you have, you know, when you're working with your own self-respect, in terms of setting boundaries with people and things like that. It isn't meant to necessarily be confrontational. Speaking your truth doesn't have to be confrontational. Okay, so be gentle with yourself. That's what Michael's reminding you. And I often find when his cards come up, even if I don't understand in that moment, like maybe if it doesn't seem to address the question that I asked, he's heralding what's coming up. In many ways, for some people, it may mean that you've overdone it, trying to clean up the messes that were left by the storm, or whatever disaster has been encountered. I think California's got another storm headed their way too. They just got over the fires, and there's something else that was headed their way. So it's about being gentle with yourself and your body. If you went through a recent trauma, if you lost someone around Christmas time, or just around the holidays, if you went through a difficult time, or if it was all you could do to get through these storms and maybe some part of your home was destroyed, there's a part of you that's reeling from that. You might have been able to muster up your strength and do what you needed to do to overcome the difficulties, and that's fantastic. But there comes a time when we also need to be gentle with ourselves, gentle with your spirit, okay? You may be feeling a little bit vulnerable as you step into areas where you're, projecting more respect for yourself. It may be making you feel a little bit vulnerable. So just be gentle. Surround yourself with gentle people. Maybe gentle music if you generally more listen to more hard rock, maybe soften it up a little bit. It's also a good time to maybe just put on some gentle classical music. I know not everybody's into that. Doesn't mean it has to be elevator music, but something that's just gentle or really speaks to your soul. Sometimes for gentle music, I like to listen to Native American flute music, or just something with piano, because it's very soothing. So that's what Michael's urging you with this middle of the week message. Be gentle with yourself. Or if you've made a mistake somehow in your work or your home and it's caused more problems, don't beat yourself up about it. That's what Michael's message is. He's got the lamb there. All right. The end of the week says you've created this situation and you have the power to change it. All right. And I get this as more of a realization that's coming to you towards the end of the week, that you're realizing your own power to change the situations that you've been surrounded with. Or, if you keep running into the same situation all the time, encountering the same kinds of relationships that ultimately leave you disappointed, or, you're encountering the same thing in with money issues or something like that. I feel like it's an awareness. And if you look at this picture, he is the artist painting the picture. And as often many of us realize, especially as we get into working with The Secret, the law of attraction, we realize that we can be conscious creators as well as unconscious creators. But anyway, so what I get with this card is, as the week, comes to a close, where to me it's more of a feeling of empowerment, that we realize how much we've contributed to the situations that we're dealing with, that we're looking to let go of. And it's a feeling of like, you know what, I can change this. I'm not comfortable, or this situation doesn't resonate with me anymore. It did once upon a time. I created it. It's time to move on from it. And I have the power to change that. So I feel like it's a feeling of empowerment that's with us as the week comes to a close. And especially now, I feel like it's a very strong feeling that's in kind of the world right now. Because if any of you watched the Golden Globes last night, and I know I'm referencing this, Oprah Winfrey made a very powerful speech in her acceptance of the Cecil B. DeMille Award. Very deserving of her. She's done so much in her career. But the times are changing and people are feeling more empowered, that it's really, as they said, time's up. It is time to change some major issues that we've been dealing with as in our societies, in the world as a whole, for a long time. And it is a very empowered feeling that we created this situation. I mean, everybody has to take responsibility.